And for the first time in 9 days, the Evansville Otters return to historic Bosse Field, hoping to kick off the home slate of the back half of the season in the right way with a couple of wins. Good evening to you. I'm Matthew Will, joining you once again here from the broadcast booth. My thanks to Zane Clodfelter, Jordan Fisher, and Jevin Redmond last weekend for filling in for me while I was back home with COVID. Back and ready to go here from historic Bosse Field, though, on a little bit of a rainy Tuesday evening as the New York Boulders make their first trip to town. In fact, it's the first time ever the Boulders and Otters are facing off. The Boulders are one of the teams that was expanded with the new and improved Frontier League last year. And as things took shape, here they are now in a competitive spot in the East Division. We'll get more into the standings in just a few minutes, but keep an eye on that East Division. They are packed in tight. As for the Otters, they come in still searching for some answers as they have had their fair share of struggles in the last few games. 1-4 in their last 5, 3-7 in their last 10. The Otters have dropped a few series in a row and are still just searching for some sort of positive game or two that they can really push forward. I mean, really, since the 9-game winning streak that ended on the 6th of July, this team has not seen sustained success since then. So that's obviously the goal as they close out the season's series against East Division teams. They'll face the Boulders here on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week before welcoming the Tri-City Valley Cats to town on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And as soon as that Sunday game ends, the Otters have played all 8 teams in that East Division and have concluded their portion of the season against the Eastern Division. The Western Division is still heating up, and we'll take this time to look through the standings at this point as, once again, things look pretty hectic across the Frontier League. Washington maintains their lead in the West. They're 3 games up on the Evansville Otters, who are 3 games up on the Schaumburg Boomers, who are now just 2 games up on Joliet, who's jumped their way up into 4th place. Gateway drops down. They're 9 back. Lake Erie's 10 back. And then both Windy City and Florence sit at the bottom at 13.5 games back here in the West Division. Over there on the East, Quebec still riding a very good stretch of games. They had success against Schaumburg, won the series this last weekend, and are now 44-16. That leads the entire league. In fact, they're the only team with 40 wins across the entirety of the Frontier League. Ottawa is now 7.5 games back there in the East Division. Watch out. Quebec is really starting to space themselves out. For anyone wondering, the magic number is 26 right now for those Quebec Capitals. Of course, like I mentioned, Ottawa 7.5 back. Sussex County 11 games back in 3rd. But that's when you find New York, Trois-Rivières, and Tri-City, who are all tied. They're in the 4th spot at 13 games back. New Jersey right behind at 14.5 back. Empire State 41 games back, and with a tragic number of 7, they could be eliminated from playoff contention as early as Thursday night. I'll keep you updated all week long with where things are starting to stand with the magic numbers and tragic numbers across the Frontier League. Let's walk you through what's going on in the Frontier League this week with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series starting to kick off. Washington is in Ottawa for a 3-game set. All eyes in the West Division are going to be on that series. Right now in the top of the 4th, the Wild Things lead 4-0 at Ottawa. If Washington gets off to a hot couple of games again on this Canadian road trip, it's going to be more chaos for the Otters, who are hoping to just sneak their way closer to that top spot here in the West Division. Empire State's on the road at Florence this week. They're in the bottom of the 2nd currently, and Florence leads 4-1 in that contest. In the bottom of the 1st, just getting started, is Windy City up at Trois-Rivières. The Thunderbolts currently lead the Eagles 2-0 in that 1st inning. Just getting started in Quebec are the Lake Erie Crushers and Quebec Capitals. The Crushers already up 1-0 in the top of the 1st inning. Get work done quickly. And New Jersey is here in the West Division facing the Schaumburg Boomers up there in Schaumburg, Illinois. They are just about to throw out first pitch there. And just a few minutes away from these next 2 games, New York at Evansville, of course, your game that you're listening to here on Flow Sports and the Otters Digital Network, but also Tri-City is at Joliet up there near the Windy City as well. That series is set to begin any moment as well. And Sussex County just made the trip over to Gateway they are about to get started as well. Big slate of games in the Frontier League once again. Should be a fun midweek series and, of course, weekend series as well, as every team is getting to face someone from the other division and get to see just a little bit different after playing those same divisional opponents for the last, well, really just about 2 months now. It's nice to get to see a little bit different teams coming through Bosse Field. We'll take a break, and on the other side, we've got starting lineups coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. First pitch is just a few minutes away. Pleased you're joining us on a rainy evening in Evansville. And once again, good evening and welcome inside historic Bosse Field. Just a few moments away from first pitch here between the New York Boulders and the Evansville Otters. Evansville entering the game with a 35-25 record, second best in the Frontier League West, 3 games back of the Washington Wild Things. Over there in the East, the New York Boulders are in a 3-way tie for fourth in the East Division, 31-29. Their record over there. Let's walk you through the starting lineups this evening. First, for the visiting team, the New York Boulders. They'll kick it off with the center fielder, Jake McKenzie, the left fielder, David Vinsky, second baseman, Gabriel Garcia, and the cleanup man is the DH, Giovanni Garbella. Batting fifth is the first lefty in the order, the first baseman, Chris Whitser. Batting sixth is the shortstop, Austin Dennis. Batting seventh, the third baseman, Ray Hernandez. Batting eighth is the catcher, Gian Martinelli. And batting ninth is the one other lefty in this lineup, right fielder Max Smith. July Sosa will be on the bump for the Boulders this evening. More on him in just a few minutes. Now the starting lineups for the Evansville Otters this evening, who are going to lead off with the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, the center fielder. Batting second is going to be the third baseman, J.R. Davis. Batting third, the left-handed hitting designated hitter, Steven Sinsky. Batting fourth is the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. Batting fifth is the first baseman and lefty, Zach Bierman. Batting sixth, the right fielder, Elijah McNamee. Batting seventh, the shortstop, George Khalil. Eighth is the catcher, Justin Felix. And batting ninth is the newly signed second baseman, Tyler Dones. We'll get more into Dones in the game as well. The officiating crew for this evening's game, Matt Beaver mans things behind the plate. We'll have Brandon Spivak on the right side of the infield, David Bailey on the left side of the infield. For those of you wondering where that other voice is next to me, we will have no Bill McEwen this week. He is out for just the time being, attending to some other things in life. Sometimes there's other things in life other than baseball, so I'll be bringing you the Evansville Otters games all week long here on both the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Pleased you're joining us here on it's been a rainy day in Evansville. Looked like we should avoid rain the rest of the evening and have a great night for baseball. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, we thank you for tuning in to Evansville Otters Baseball. First pitch is next. Lineups have been announced, anthem has been sung, and we are ready for baseball here from historic Bosse Field in Evansville. But first, I want to remind you, it's Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports and the Otters Digital Network is sponsored by Working Distributor Evansville. Let's get right into the starting man this evening for the Evansville Otters. Ryan O'Reilly is going to get the nod for the Otters. 6'3", 205 out of Makina, Illinois. Making his 10th start on the season. He holds a 4-4 record across his 57 innings of work. He's given up 28 runs on 61 hits, struck out 59 while just giving up 31 walks. He's been a lot of fun to watch. He's got a 1-3 record when paired with the pitcher-catcher battery of Justin Felix and him. They have a battery ERA of 5.98. They'll look to improve that one this evening. Again, it's O'Reilly on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give him a call at 812-475-9000. A good friend, Zane Cloudfitter, wants to let him know that he's the one who sent you to the Answer Auto Repair East. Let's walk you through the starting nine for the New York Boulders this evening. Again, Jake McKenzie, the center fielder, kicks it off. Then it's David Vinsky in the 2-hole. He's going to be the guy to keep an eye on. If you haven't heard of him yet, it's time to get acquainted. He's currently top 10 in the Frontier League in batting average with a .345 batting average, and he has played in every game for the Boulders this year. He's one of 9 guys in the league who have played every game for their team thus far. His 55 RBIs lead the Boulders and are now tied for the third most in the Frontier League. He's followed by Gabriel Garcia, the second baseman. The cleanup man is Giovanni Garbella. Batting fifth is the first baseman, Chris Quincy. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Austin Dennis, a former double-A-er right there. Third baseman, Ray Hernandez, is in the 7-hole. Batting eighth, the catcher, Gian Martinelli. And batting ninth is the right fielder, Max Smith. July Sosa is the man on the mound for him, but we will get to him in just a few moments. O'Reilly's ready to go. We're ready for first pitch here from historic Bosse Field. On the way at 6:36 p.m., a little bit low for ball one. The New York Boulders wearing their road gray jerseys with blue block numbering and lettering. A 1-0 on the way, and it's hit sharply down the left side, but dribbles well foul. O'Reilly kind of taking his time before he heads back up to the mound. A 1-1 is sent sharply towards right field. McNamee charging in, sliding is Bierman, and it's actually the new man who makes a catch. Tyler Dones, the second baseman, comes running in to snag out number one. He shares a laugh with the right fielder, Elijah McNamee. He went across the water gracefully and didn't have to worry about any of the mud or anything, but Zach Bierman is still taking a knee, cleaning all of the mud off of his cleat. He caught it just right, ended up on his back. So a foul out to the new second baseman is how this game starts. It brings up David Vinsky. First pitch home is a called strike on the inside edge. David Vinsky, a 15th round draft pick out of the St. Louis Cardinals in the 2019 draft. He was drafted out of Northwood University, a nice D2 school in Midland, Michigan. Since being drafted, he's played in the rookie leagues and Single A before last year spending all season with Springfield of the Double A. Had a good season last year. Batted at .210 and was fairly consistent throughout the year. Had a good mix of extra base hits and RBIs, but ended up washing out of the system and now is here in the Frontier League. 1-2 the count to David Vinsky with one out and nobody on here in the top of the first inning. Ball is sent sharply to the right side. They'll let this one go as it will be well foul and out of play.
That ball brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret
Northwood,
it.
the former school of David Vinsky, out of the GLIAC, Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, one of the ones that the teams in the GLVC play quite a bit. Ball is sent out towards center field, and it'll fall in front of a charging Gordon for the first base hit of the game. Even if Gordon was not having to deal with wet field conditions and caught that one really early, he still probably wouldn't have made it there in time.
Gabriel Garcia.
So that'll bring up Gabriel Garcia with 1 out and 1 man on. Garcia has a whole lot of history to him. In fact, he was drafted 2 separate times. Once by the Orioles in the 2015 draft, a 29th round pick. He declined to sign, and in 2016 was drafted in the 14th round by the Milwaukee Brewers. First pitch home to him is sent sharply towards right field. McNamee chasing over towards it, towards the foul line, and finally brings it in for out number 2. So the runner Vinsky will stay put there at first, and now Giovanni Garbella will make his way to the plate. Garbella was a Valpo man, played for Valparaiso University for 4 full seasons before going abroad to play in the Italian Baseball League for 3 years. First pitch is inside for ball 1 for him. In his time at Valparaiso, he had a career batting average of .285 before signing with 3 separate teams across the last 3 seasons in the Italian League, where he had a .304 average those 3 years. A 1-0 to him, sent sharply towards left center field. Gordon's going to work towards his right side and bring it in for out number 3. A couple hard-hit balls, but nothing makes it too far as we've played 1/2 inning, still scoreless from historic Bosse Field. We're through 1/2 inning, still scoreless from Bosse Field. Let's introduce you to the man on the mound for the New York Boulders this evening, July Sosa, the 6'3" righty out of the Bronx, New Yorks. Makes his way up to the bump now. July Sosa enters the game with a 3-0 record, a 3.38 ERA, but he has not started yet this year. In fact, all 5 of his appearances have all been relief appearances. He's given up a combined 5 runs on 11 hits in 13 1/3 innings, 9 strikeouts and 4 walks for him thus far. It's Sosa on the mound, Martinelli behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give him a call at 812-475-9000. Here's the men he'll be facing on the Evansville Otters side of things. Miles Gordon, J.R. Davis, and Steven Sinsley kick off things in the lineup. Then an interesting-looking middle 3 of Jeffrey Baez, Zach Bierman, and Elijah McNamee before George Khalil, Justin Felix, and Tyler Dones round out the starting 9. It brings up the Edward Jones leadoff man of the game, Miles Gordon.
Number 6, Miles Gordon.
The center fielder Gordon is entering the game with a .277 batting average. He's got an on-base percentage sitting just about .360. First offering to Miles Gordon on the way, and it stays a bit inside for ball one. Gordon really starting to rack up the career appearances. Just about to hit his 400th game played. The 1-0 catches the high outside corner, evening the count at 1-1 strike. In 394 games played now for Miles Gordon, he's got over 350 hits, over 150 RBIs, almost 100 stolen bases. Been a very successful career for him. Another pitch way inside. This time for ball two, has him ahead to count 2-1. Good couple of crowds here at Bosse Field, especially in the two picnic tents on left and right field, but also out on the Corona patio deck. A 2-1 on the way for Miles Gordon. Stays high and outside. And the first four pitches for July Sosa are low inside, high outside, low inside, high outside. There's a good look of the Corona patio deck. That could be you next Otters home game. If you want to book it, just give our front office a call at 812-435-8686. A 3-1 catches the outside of the zone for a called strike, and Gordon will have to sit in for a full count now. And again, due up after Gordon are Davis and Sinsley here to kick off this lineup. A payoff pitch for Gordon. It's lifted very high in the infield. Charging in are both Dennis and Hernandez on the left side. It's finally Dennis that brings it in for out number one. Dennis really came in a long way to make that catch. Let's walk you through the defensive alignment for New York in this game. Vinsky, McKenzie, Smith go left to right across the outfield. In the infield, Hernandez at third, Dennis at short, Garcia at second, Whitser there at first. And again, Martinelli is the battery mate of Sosa behind the plate. J.R. Davis ready for the first pitch of his at-bat. The righty takes a curveball in there for a called strike one, almost right down the middle. First time we've seen J.R. Davis really elevated in the lineup, as he is looking at an 0-1 inside for ball one that evens the count at 1-1. For Davis, it's the 8th time this year he's batted in the 2-hole. Spent a lot of his time, though, in the 3, 4, or 5 spots. JR ready for the 1-1. Here comes his way. He launches it out towards right field. A little bit of a blooping hit, but it's going to be right at the right fielder Smith for out number 2. So on both sides, we've seen some solid contact so far in this game, but nothing doing in the grand scheme of things yet.
Batting third.
Just one base hit between the two squads combined. Steven Sinsley will make his way to the plate now. Sinsley trying to be the leader of this team, at least offensively, as Evansville still sitting without a man batting over 300 outside of Dakota Phillips, who is not currently with the team, working on a hand injury. First pitch to Steven Sinsley, and he gets just a bit underneath it, putting it back into the netting behind home plate for strike one. New York Boulders in town for the first time. In fact, it's the first time these two squads have ever faced each other. The 0-1 to Sinsley. Drops a bit low for ball one. New York's located out of Pomona, New York. They were founded in 2011. and were a part of the Can-Am League until the two leagues combined. They were known as the Rockland Boulders all the way up until 2019. They changed to the New York Boulders when they joined the Frontier League. Sinsley fires one off towards left center field. It's the left fielder, Vinsky, who raises his arm up and brings in the ball for out number 3. We've played through one full inning, still looking for the game's first score. Just one combined hit thus far as well. Beautiful night for baseball from Evansville. Second inning coming at you next. And as we welcome you into the second inning of play, we take another look at the Frontier League standings, where Washington continues to lead the West. Now just a 3-game buffer between them and Evansville. 3 games separate Evansville and Schaumburg, but that's where games begin to get tight. Joliet right behind, a game back. Gateway another game back. Windy City and Florence bring up the rear, but they're not too far out of the conversation. As for the East, Quebec is running away. 7.5 games up on second place Ottawa, who's another 3.5 games up on Sussex County. Then you've got 3 teams tied at 13 games back in New York, Trois-Rivières, and Tri-City. New Jersey and Empire State bring up the rear. But you got to keep an eye on that East Division. There is going to be an absolute melee for those last 2 playoff spots. It should be fun to watch how the East Division kind of falls in these next few weeks. We're ready for second inning work as Chris Whitser, Austin Dennis, and Ray Hernandez are due up in the half inning. First pitch from O'Reilly, called strike. As we continue on here in the second, Chris Whitser batting .285 as we enter the series. Pitch is high and outside for ball 1 that evens the count up. O'Reilly taking a couple extra seconds before he fires home. Hefty swing on a 1-1 is a swinging strike 2. Whitser batting in the 5-hole this evening, playing first base. The 1-2 on the way. Swinging strike 3, and it's a German-American Bank strikeout for Ryan O'Reilly to kick off the second inning.
That strikeout by Chris Whitser.
Good start to this game so far for Ryan O'Reilly. Let's now look through the defensive alignment for the Otters this evening, where in the outfield we see Jeffrey Baez, Miles Gordon, and Elijah McNamee left to right out there. Kind of going back to usual out there. J.R. Davis, George Khalil, Tyler Dones, and Zach Bierman go across the infield. It's a first pitch swinging for Austin Dennis to kick off his at-bat. Austin Dennis is a former minor leaguer as well. In fact, he was playing in the Royals system last year. Hits the ball sharply towards Davis at third. He'll sidestep before the throw to first is in time for out number 2. Hard hit ball, but it was no problem for J.R. Davis. That'll bring up Ray Hernandez, the 7-hole hitter, and playing third base this evening. Hernandez was a 29th round pick from Atlanta in the 2018 draft, was out of Alabama State University at the time. He played 2 years in the rookie league through at the Atlanta Braves system before washing down to the independent leagues where he's been the last 3 years. One with Washington and now 2 years with the Boulders. The 0-1 headed his way. It's way inside. The count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. In his time at Alabama State, Hernandez was a .307 hitter, cranking up 170 RBIs in his 4-year career. Another pitch high and inside has him ahead in the count, 2-1 now. Since joining Washington last year, though, he's clocked now 95 hits in 98 games with the Boulders. A 2-1 headed towards Hernandez. It's a hefty swinging strike, too, which evens the count up. As you can see there, O'Reilly, big deep breath, ready on the 2-2 with the bases empty and 2 outs. O'Reilly kicks and delivers on the 2-2. It's sent sharply towards Davis at third. He'll play it on 2 hops. The throw to first is in time to retire the man, and we've played through 1.5. We're still scoreless from historic Bosse Field, and the Otters headed back to the plate right after this. And the eyes do not deceive as we begin the bottom of the 2nd inning. The sun coming out here in Evansville for the first time today. It'll start to have a little implications, I guess, on the right fielder, but he's about all it will change in the game for, as it's already moved himself out of the infield. Ready for the last warm-up pitch as July Sosa fires that one home. And the Otters are going to send Jeffrey Baez, Zach Bierman, and Elijah McNamee to the plate, still looking for their first base runner in this game. Jeffrey Baez walked 3 times in Sunday's finale at Sussex County. Good to see him staying patient at the plate and earning his way on base. So Baez, who's serving as the cleanup hitter this evening, steps in. And his first pitch on the way from Sosa. Another curveball that falls in for a called strike 1. Want to start to look through the Frontier League scoreboard this evening. Washington currently leading Ottawa 4-2 up there at Ottawa. An 0-1 falls in for a called strike 2, and Baez quickly back in the count by a couple. In the top of the 3rd, the Empire State Grays trailing 4-1 at Florence. Empire State trying to stay out of elimination zone this week. An 0-2 to Baez. Bounces in for ball 1, keeping himself alive in the counts. We've had score on both sides at Trois-Rivières, as in the top of the third, the Windy City Thunderbolts currently lead 3-2 there at the Eagles. In the bottom of the third in Quebec, Lake Erie and Quebec are tied at 1 run apiece. Should be an interesting game there, as Lake Erie came out swinging early. A 1-2 to Baez. Big curveball stays inside for ball 2, and he'll stay alive in the count. A lot of games just getting underway in the bottom of the first. Both New Jersey and Schaumburg, as well as Sussex County Gateway, both those games in the bottom of the first, both those games still scoreless. In the top of the second, the Tri-City Valley Cats have an early 1-0 lead at Joliet. And then, of course, our game still scoreless here from Bosse Field. The 2-2 to Baez. Sent sharply towards the shortstop, Dennis, who plays it on 3 hops. The throw to first is high, but in time for out number 1. Worked really high, but Whitser was able to get on his toes and use every part of that 6 foot he is to bring it down.
Batting fifth at first base, number 45, Zach Bierman.
So Zach Bierman will now make his way to the plate. The Frontier League All-Star first baseman. Although, technically at the All-Star game, he was a left fielder. First pitch to Zach Bierman on the way now. High outside, ball 1. Bierman's going to start off ahead in the count. Bierman was a pinch hitter in the game on Sunday for the Otters. Came in, got himself on base, and came around to score. Bierman ready for the 1-0. Pitch is on the way, and he lifts it high and foul to the left side, out of play. Count evens up.
Construction. Choose the best, never regret it.
July Sosa up here on the mound this evening. Hails from Faulkner University. That's where he's played the last 2 years. They're an NAIA school. And now here he is, playing in the Frontier League as a part of this New York Boulders squad. A 1-1. Ooh, nice curveball there. Fell into the zone. And I've said curveball the last couple times, but the more I look at it, the more it's starting to look like a slider that also falls in the zone. Regardless, it's got Bierman out to a 1-2 count now. So here comes the 1-2. Swinging strike 3, and Bierman's going to be the first man to sit down with a strikeout for the Otters this evening. That'll bring up the right fielder Elijah McNamee as the former Mississippi State man is going to try to kick off the homestand in the right way. McNamee's already made a nice play earlier in the game defensively, had to run a long way out there and right to bring out a ball. First pitch home to McNamee is fouled right into the face mask of Martinelli behind the plate. And he'll take a second to regroup. July Sosa's going to make the walk down and have a check on his catcher, making sure, hey, you all good to go? And shares a laugh with him as well. It just looks like Martinelli's just kind of resetting. Ball came back into his mask in a hurry, and rightfully so. He deserves a couple of seconds to kind of reset the eyes. July Sosa is, in all seriousness, a guy who's done a lot of starting in his career, yet he's not done it at the professional level thus far. In his 2 years with Faulkner, he started almost every single one of his games, only had 5 combined appearances in relief. McNamee's able to check his swing and even his count at 1-1. But since joining the Boulders, July Sosa's appeared in 5 games. All 5 have been relief appearances, though. One the count for Elijah McNamee. 2 outs, nobody on here in the second inning. He's way out in front of a 1-1 and quickly falls down to the count 1-2 on the swinging strike. Defense set up straight up all the way around for Elijah McNamee, who's ready for the 1-2. On the way now. And he's able to foul it back into the netting and keep himself alive. The New York Boulders apparently are named referring to Rockland County's plethora of boulders in the landscape, as they hail from Rockland County, New York. To be exact, it's Pomona, New York. So a little bit of a wait before the next pitch. As the 1-2 falls out of the zone and evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's go all the way back to 2011 to find the first time the Boulders saw action. At that point, they were still called the Rockland Boulders, and they were playing out of the Can-Am League. They won their first official game 11-5 over the Newark Bears. A 2-2 to Elijah McNamee is sent to the left side. Hernandez will play it on a couple of hops. The off-balance throw is in time. What a play by the third baseman to retire McNamee on the way to first. We've played 2 full innings, still scoreless from historic Bosse Field. In fact, we just have 1 combined hit. Third inning coming at you next. Ready to go in the third inning here, as we are still scoreless from historic Bosse Field. Hope you took the no-run first inning. Got it here. Want to keep an eye on one big game, at least to the Otters this evening. That's that game going on in Ottawa, as the Washington Wild Things still have a 4-2 lead at Ottawa. That's a tough little couple of games to play. That Ottawa Stadium holds well over 10,000, and it can really feel like a lot to be playing in a ballpark that size. Plus, the infield grass plays in such a way that it really sucks some of those balls into the infield, that it makes it tough to hit there. So, eager to see how that series goes between Washington and Ottawa. Again, they're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Washington still leading 4-2. Ready for the bottom couple pieces of this New York lineup. Gian Martinelli and Max Smith due up. First pitch to John Martinelli. Hit straight back up the middle. Khalil will play it on a couple of hops. The throw to first is in plenty of time to grab out number 1. That'll be enough to already bring us to the 9-hole hitter, Max Smith. Max Smith, another former affiliated player. Smith was a 31st round pick in the 2019 draft out of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He went to the Minnesota Twins organization. Takes a first pitch strike, a little bit low. In his time with the Twins organization, he played rookie ball for a year before splitting time in low and high A last year. Another called strike has Smith down 0-2 in the count. Following a little extra time in low A last year, he fell to the Independent League, where he, of course, spent time with the New York Boulders. Ended up clocking 15 games last year with this New York team. The 0-2 stays low and outside. He won't bite at it on the ball one. One, two, the count for Max Smith. And the pitch is on its way now. Launched out towards center field, but it's going to stay very shallow. In fact, it's George Khalil who calls everybody off and brings it in for out number 2. Ball was hit very hard, but it was also hit very straight up in the air.
Back to the top of the order for New York, center fielder 34, Jake McKenzie.
So back to the top of the order we go and find center fielder Jake McKenzie, who led off the game with a foul out to the right side that the new second baseman Tyler Dones went running after for out number 1. First pitch here is a called strike at the knees. Nice fastball there from Ryan O'Reilly. An 0-1 for McKenzie is hit on the ground towards Khalil. He'll play it on a hop. The throw to first just barely beats McKenzie. And just like that, we've played through 2.5 innings. Just one hit combined in this game, moving right along at historic Bosse Field. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and promotions from the Evansville Otters, you can visit EvansvilleOtters.com and subscribe to the Otters e-newsletter by clicking Join Our e-news on the EvansvilleOtters.com homepage. Also, don't forget to follow the Otters on Twitter at EvilleOtters, on Instagram at Evansville Otters, and like the Evansville Otters on Facebook. You do that, you're never going to miss a moment of Otters news. George Khalil set to kick off this bottom half of the third for the Otters. First pitch to him. That big hang curve for strike 1. Just falls into the zone at the last second. Has some nice movement on it. The 0-1 now for George Khalil is zoomed high and shallow to the left side. Dennis seems to be underneath it, and he is, for a pop out that stays in the infield dirt. So we still are not seeing many balls put into play, at least not in good contention to get any base hits. That'll bring up the catcher, Justin Felix. Felix has been one of the most electric Otters to watch in the last 5 or 10 games. To be exact, in his last 5 games, Justin Felix is batting .500 with 7 hits. 3 of the 7 are for extra bases. First pitch to Justin Felix is sent right back over the top of the seating area here for strike 1. Felix has really put himself in the driver's seat as the catcher on this team, especially with Dakota Phillips currently out. The 0-1 for Justin Felix. It's a swinging strike, too. Got himself a little ahead of that one. Defense is playing rather deep around the infield here, which is interesting because of the amount of rain that this area saw. I would have thought there would have been a little bit more playing towards the deadening of balls. But Justin Felix is going to be swinging and missing on a strike 3 outside. The second strikeout of the day for July Sosa.
Batting up the second base, number 18, Tyler Jones.
So now Tyler Jones is going to make his way to the plate. Tyler Jones making his professional debut this evening. Very first pitch home is a called strike on the high edge. Jones played his collegiate ball at both West Virginia in the Big 12 and then Indiana here in the Big 10. The 0-1 for Jones. Big curveball, stayed a bit inside, and the count evens up. Jones has a collegiate batting average of .374. His freshman year at West Virginia, bat .317. Pitch just hangs on the outside edge for strike 2. Jones one of 2 signings today for the Otters. They also signed Kevin Davis, a right-handed pitcher out of Orland Park, Illinois. We'll talk more about Parks later in the week, I have a feeling now, because that's when we'll probably see it. The 1-2 to Jones, pushed out to the right side, right at the second baseman. Garcia played off the edge of his glove, but he's able to recover and throw to first in time for out number 3. We've played through 3 full innings. We just have 1 combined base runner. A first inning single for New York is the only hit thus far. We head to the 4th inning right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Evansville Otter Baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. Ryan O'Reilly hits the mound. He's ready for the first pitch of this 4th inning, a called strike to David Vinsky, who is currently the only man who's touched base safely for either squad in this game. He had a first inning single. The 0-1 for Vinsky. Swinging strike two. He was fooled on a pitch high and inside. Actually ended up finishing with a bit of a one-handed swing. The 0-2 to Vinsky. Just misses on the outside edge. So a long wait now for O'Reilly. 1-2 the count to Vinsky. No outs. Nobody on. A high inside pitch evens the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Ryan O'Reilly's been phenomenal so far in this game, keeping that pitch count low. As you can see on your screen there, if you're watching, still just over 30 pitches. The 2-2 to Vinsky. Swinging strike three. Felix is going to pick it up and just toss down to first for the official ruling, but it is a German-American Bank strikeout, the second of the game for Ryan O'Reilly. That'll bring up Gabriel Garcia, the second baseman.
13, Gabriel Garcia.
Garcia's last time out, he flew out to right field, a ball that McNamee really had to run for. He finally brought it in right at the foul line out there in deep right. First pitch for Garcia is a swinging strike on a pitch that just broke away from him. There's one out, nobody on here in the top of the fourth inning. The 0-1 to Garcia, swinging strike two, and O'Reilly is really falling into his zone now. The sun yet again making his appearance shown. Really only being seen in basically center field at this point. O'Reilly shakes off a couple of pitches. Now he's ready on the 0-2 to Gabriel Garcia. It bounces in for ball one. Just a light breeze this evening blowing in from center field. If you're keeping an eye on what the weather could look like here in the next couple of days, it looks like there could be some more rain chances, especially in the overnight hours tonight as well as tomorrow. You could see a pop-up shower towards the end of tonight's game. A swinging strike three has Garcia sat down, and it is back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts to kick off the fourth inning here.
Designated hitter, 38, Giovanni Garbella.
That'll bring up the DH, Giovanni Garbella. I brought up a little bit about Giovanni Garbella his last time up, the former Valparaiso man. Now played 3 leagues in the Italian Baseball League before finding his way to the Independent League this year. First pitch to him is sent sharply foul to the left side. It'll end up near the rain tarp over there. Yeah, kind of out of nowhere now. A little bit of a rain chance between 9 and 10:30 tonight. An 0-1 stays low and outside for Garbella. Garbella this season is batting a .299 average, but his on-base percentage a whole piece higher, .399. Ball works way inside on Garbella, and it feels like the first time in ages we've seen O'Reilly down an account, 2-1. Defense set up straight up all the way around as the 2-1 comes home. Again, foul to the left side towards that rain tarp. Otters are here all week long, so we'd love to see you here at historic Bosse Field. Tomorrow night, a Senior Connection Wednesday. First pitch at 6:35. Then a Thirsty Thursday on Thursday nights as our friends from Edward Jones and Working Distributors are here. Hard hit ball to the right side is sent foul. Friday night, Gil Hodges night, as Evansville celebrates the brand new Baseball Hall of Famer Gil Hodges. If you come to the game, you get a mini bust giveaway. It looks like a little statue. That game is sponsored by Harris Real Estates and Randy's Americana Cafe. Then Christmas in July is here on Saturday night. Pitch is brought home high and sent foul yet again, and the count remains at 2 balls, 2 strikes for Giovanni Garbella.
Use the best, never regret it.
The 6-game homestand concludes on Sunday with a dog days of summer as the Otters conclude their season series against all of the East Division teams this week. The 2-2 against Garbella. Low and outside, and the count is full. Of course, if you can't join us in person at all this week, you can join us both on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. I'll have the broadcast for every single night, all 6 nights. The 3-2 sent foul yet again, and Garbella and O'Reilly will continue this long battle here out on the mound, on the field. Defense set up straight up still for Giovanni Garbella as O'Reilly sends home a payoff pitch. Outside ball for the first walk of the game. Just the second base runner of the game. And that's a 2-out walk for Giovanni Garbella.
First baseman, number 9, Chris Whitser.
That brings up the first baseman, Chris Whitser, who struck out his first time up in the 2nd inning. Whitser also made a solid defensive play back in the 1st inning, really in the 2nd inning, having to get up on his toes to bring a throw back down. First pitch to Whitser, sent right back up the middle. It's right into the glove of Khalil. He'll step on second easily, and that's how the top half of the 4th inning ends. We've played 3.5 innings, still looking for the first run of this ball game.
This homestand with a non-COVID related illness.
We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning, and with it, the Otters will head back to the top of the order, still looking for their first base runner of the game. Miles Gordon, J.R. Davis, and Steven Sinsley are due up next. Of the 9 outs the Otters have recorded, 2 of them have been strikeouts, 2 of them have been pop-outs, 2 of them have been flyouts. The last 3 have been groundouts.
The
Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game. Miles Gordon is going to try to be the one to break this hitless stream for the Otters. The bright side for Evansville, though they haven't been able to get themselves on base, they've limited the chances significantly for New York. First pitch home stays low for ball 1. Been impressed with what we've seen from July Sosa thus far. Still under 40 pitches through his first 3 innings of work. He's worked himself a couple of strikeouts as well. The 1-0 on the way to Miles Gordon. And it is hit off the end of the bat. Foul for strike one. We'll take a look through the Frontier League scoreboard as we advance through this inning as well. Top of the eighth, Washington still holding on to a 4-2 lead at Ottawa. Top of the third, Florence still hanging on to a 4-1 lead against Empire State. A 1-1 to Gordon. Swinging strike two. He was way over the top of it. With the check just to be sure, but with the amount of time that we've seen this Florence Empire State game in the third, I wouldn't be surprised if they're seeing some rain right now. 1-2 for Gordon. Stays inside. So with a quick check over there, the reason that it has not updated is because the Y'alls have exploded for offense. They're in the bottom of the fourth, and it's 11-1 Y'alls. So here comes the 2-2. Home for Miles Gordon. Big pitch here. Sent sharply to the right side, but foul. It'll end up in the bullpen of the Otters. Little news from the game taking place in Schaumburg this evening. The Boomers are up 2-1 against New Jersey, and also Braxton Davidson has extended his on-base streak to 17 games. 2-2 to Gordon. Stays low, and he's looking at a full count now. Couple more scores for you. Quebec and Lake Erie remain tied at 1 run apiece in the bottom of the fifth inning. The Crushers trying to hang with the top team in the league. Also, Tri-City has extended their lead to 5-0 at Joliet now in the third inning. A 3-2 to Gordon, and again, he fouls one off. It'll end up on the roof of the dugout for the Otters over on the right side. One more score for you here this evening. In Gateway, the Sussex County Miners and Gateway Grizzlies still scoreless there as well. So a couple high-scoring games, a couple low-scoring games. We'll go through the Frontier League scoreboard in just a few moments once again. 3-2 the count for Miles Gordon. He sends another one foul to the right side. This battle continues. That ball ends up in the Otters bullpen down there. He's done good work to keep himself alive in the count. Wind starting to pick up a little bit, coming in from left center field. In fact, if you're watching our game on Flow Sports, you're starting to see a little bit of camera wiggle with that center field camera. That's due to the wind starting to pick up out there in center field. 3-2 to Gordon. This one's fair. It's right at the first baseman, Whitser, who will play it on a hop. The relay over to first is in time for out number one. It was relayed over to the pitcher, Sosa, who apparently was able to slam his foot down before Gordon could get there.
Third baseman.
Officially, it's 3-1 on the put out there. That'll bring up J.R. Davis, who's batting in the 2-hole this evening. 8th time this year he's appeared there. He flew out to right field his first time up. It was a really hard hit ball, but it just didn't have much carry to it. First pitch to Davis. High and inside, and he's caught swinging. Really worked tying in on him. Everyone in the league playing someone from the other division. And by the time we finish Sunday's games, we'll have completed all of the interdivisional games this season. Of course, the only other interdivisional games that the Frontier League will see is the Frontier League Championship Series in mid-September. One ball and one strike to J.R. Davis. There's one out and nobody on. Otters still looking for their first base runner. A 1-1. Big curveball, and Davis found himself way out in front of it. He falls back to the count 1-2. Certainly falling into a game that feels like one of those one run could do it games. Both starting pitchers look very good. The 1-2 to Davis. Another big curveball. This one stayed too far inside, however, and the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Otters are running out of home games for you to come see them at. They have this 6-game homestand this week, of course. Then next week, they're on the road for 3 before hosting Gateway for 3. Then they're on the road for 6 games. After that, there's only 9 games left at home. In fact, after this, if you add everything up together, after Sunday's game of this 6-game set this weekend, there will only be 12 more Otters home games. So if you're going to come out to the ballpark, you got to do it quickly. A 2-2 to J.R. Davis. Hit weakly to the left side. Hernandez will play it on 3 hops. Has to make a very hard throw, and it beats J.R. Davis by a half stride for out number 2. So into the 3-hole we go, where now Steven Sinsley steps in. He also flied out to right field his first time up. It was a hard hit ball, but didn't really get the carry it needed. Sorry, I said flew out to right field. I meant flew out to left field because the ball was traveling towards left center, but I think the wind helped to really knock it down early, and it ended up basically, if you drew a line between the left fielder and center fielder right now, it ended up right about there. Sinsley ready for the first pitch of his at-bat. And it's a first pitch strike on the high outside corner. I would say thus far, that's the only time we've seen Matt Beaver behind the plate allow a strike on a pitch that was that outside. The outside has really not been called so far this evening. Been fairly consistent strike zone on both sides. The 0-1 for Steven Sinsley. He shows bunt to the left side. There's nobody over there. It'll roll, it'll roll, it'll roll. It's an infield base hit for Steven Sinsley on the bunt, and he's got a big smile around him first. The no-hitter ends with an infield bunt single because they played the shift too hard on Steven Sinsley. Bill McEwen, I hope you're watching. He would be so proud right now. 2 outs, runner on first, and the Otters finally have themselves an opportunity to get some offense going. It's Jeffrey Baez making his way to the plate. He grounded out to the shortstop his first time up. That was the play in which the ball was sent so high, the first baseman Whitser had to really climb to keep it there. First pitch to Jeffrey Baez on the way now. He takes it for a called strike on the inside edge. That's one of those times where we see Baez, because he plays close to the plate, trying to show that it was way inside, when in all reality it was over the heart of the plate. He was just hugged a little too far in. July Sosa ready on the bump. Fires him on an 0-1. It's sent right back up the middle past the second baseman Garcia. Sinsley's going to stick there at second, but the Otters have back-to-back base hits here in the bottom of the 4th inning, their first offense of the day. Now the Otters will hope to not leave their men stranded out there, which has been their big issue in the last week. Quick meeting up there on the bump as they discuss signs. Looks like everything's ready to go for Zach Bierman, who's batting in the 5-hole this evening. He recorded the first strikeout of the day for the Otters. Bierman will step out. Now once again ready to go. First pitch to Zach Bierman. On the way now, and it's sent foul to the left side.
The red foul ball brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
For the Otters, it's all about limiting those missed opportunities. On Friday night, they had 13 men left on base. You just cannot win a game when you're leaving men on like that. The 0-1 to Zach Bierman, who yet again sends a ball foul to the left side.
The red foul ball brought to you by
Goes back
Heads
0-2.
Construction. Choose the best.
Zach
Never
Bierman,
regret it.
one of the Otters' 5 All-Stars. He was voted to the All-Star team as an outfielder, played left field for the West Division. The 0-2 to Zach Bierman with 2 outs and 2 on here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And it stays low for ball 1. Tough ball to take there for Bierman, but it ends up paying off for him. Sinsley stands on second. Baez on first. They were the first 2 base hits and are the first 2 base runners for the Otters all night. 1-2 count headed home to Bierman, who takes a called strike 3 on the outside edge. He's frustrated, and the Otters will leave 2 men on. We've played 4 full innings, still scoreless here from Bosse Field. Well, the Otters are finally able to get their first men on base, but they leave them stranded. And we've played 4 full, still looking for our first run of this game. It'll bring Austin Dennis, Ray Hernandez, and John Martinelli to the plate for the Boulders. Through 4 innings, Ryan O'Reilly, like you can see on your screen, just at 48 pitches. He's been very good in this game. First pitch home to him. Austin Dennis stays high for ball 1. The 1-0 is sent right back up the middle. Long run for Khalil. Goes off the tip of his glove and then off the tip of Tyler Dones' glove. And it'll be a hard hit infield single for Austin Dennis.
Third baseman, 40.
Ray Hernandez now making his way to the plate with a ground out back in the 2nd inning that he hit really hard at J.R. Davis. O'Reilly checks on his runner over there at first before firing him on the first pitch to Ray Hernandez. Works way high and inside for ball one. Really, that's been the story thus far for Ryan O'Reilly. He's been very good in this game, but when he has missed, it's been inside, quite often higher on the inside as well. 1-0 the count now as the pitch heads home to Hernandez. He's way out in front of it, and because of it, it's fouled off to the left side. J.R. Davis will make a play on a foul ball as the count's even at 1-1 now. Otters and Boulders face off tomorrow and Thursday, both 6:35 first pitches here from historic Bosse Field. The 1-1 on the way home to Ray Hernandez. Again, high and inside. This one's ball two. So Justin Felix will lay in wait for the 2-1 as O'Reilly gets himself set. The 2-1 headed home, and at first he's going to fire over to first just to check on the runner, Dennis, who is back in time. Wasn't really expecting to throw over. Decent crowd here at historic Bosse Field this evening. Rain all day, though. Made it tough to see if there was going to be a game. Tough play for Khalil. He'll go to second for one. The throw to first is an off-balance throw. It's in time, and it's a beautiful 6-4-3 double play. There was no reason Khalil should have made that play. Got to it just in time. The relay to Dones beat the man to second. Dones had to make a really off-balance throw, and he was able to get it to first in time for out number 2. And yet again, the Otters continue their strong defensive work with another 6-4-3 double play. John Martinelli, the catcher, makes his way to the plate now. 0 for 1 with a ground out to the shortstop already this evening. First pitch here is a called strike on the low side of the zone. O'Reilly has really looked good in this performance thus far. An 0-1 to Martinelli. Swinging strike two. The pitch broke away from the zone, and Martinelli chased it out there. Bases are empty after the double play, and the 0-2's headed home to John Martinelli. That one stuck in the hand of O'Reilly just a little too long. And because of it, it was basically bouncing into the opposite batter's box. But he's still ahead in the count 1-2. The pitch on the way to Martinelli. Foul tip, strike three, and a German-American Bank strikeout into the top half of the fifth. We're at the Center Point Energy center point of the game of this one. Still scoreless from historic Bosse Field.
course, and to satisfy the
Again,
speed
we are
booth,
to the
is
Center
an
Point
item
Energy
where
center point of the game. And at this point, still scoreless, still with just a combined 4 hits in the game. The Otters didn't get their 2 until that 4th inning. Really, we've seen 2 starting pitchers really work this game well. July Sosa on the mound for New York, Ryan O'Reilly on the mound for Evansville. That's been the difference maker. Evansville was able to grab a couple of base hits. The first one, Steven Sinsley, of course, on a infield bunt single because they played the shift a little too ferociously on him. He was able to just lay one down for a base hit. Jeffrey Baez followed it up with a single of his own. But really, other than that, the Otters have not seen a lot of real opportunities, and that carries over from the series against Sussex County. In the 3 games there at Sussex, Evansville only had 3 extra base hits, 1 double and 2 triples. So a lot of what they've done has been in small pieces, and they're looking to keep that alive this evening, I guess, as their 2 hits are both singles yet again. Former Mississippi State man Elijah McNamee makes his way to the plate. Otters don't necessarily need big hit Mac right now. Instead, they just need consistent hit Mac to get himself on base. Defense playing straight up all the way around as the first pitch comes home to Elijah McNamee for a called strike on the outside edge. Wind blowing just a little bit in from center field. As an 0-1 for McNamee is swung on and missed for strike 2, and he lifts a hand up in confusion. I think McNamee was just surprised it broke that hard underneath him. So the 0-2 count now for Elijah McNamee with no outs and nobody on. Hit hard to the left side. Hernandez is going to play it on 2 hops. A rocket throw to first is in time for out number 1. I wish our radar gun would pick up how hard Hernandez has been throwing across the infield. They have been some hefty throws.
Shortstop, 28, George Khalil.
George Khalil makes his way to the plate now. 0 for 1 so far in the game. A hard hit ball back in the 3rd inning, but it ended up being a pop out here in the infield as it didn't really have distance. It just had tons of height. First pitch, and he lays down a bunt to the left side. It rolls just a hair foul. It did surprise the third baseman Hernandez, and had it stayed foul or fair, I think Khalil might have been able to beat it down. But regardless, it won't matter. He'll make the walk back to home. Breeze continues to blow in out of center. Starting to blow a little bit harder now, but regardless, counts at 0-1. Justin Felix lays in wait, ready to head to the plate next. But first, an 0-1 pitch to George Khalil. And it stays just a bit high. Didn't look too high, but apparently it stayed just a little too much so. For ball 1, the count evens up. July Sosa says no to a couple pitches and now fires home on a 1-1. Khalil takes it for a called strike 2 on the inside edge, and he shakes his head in disagreement. One, 2 the count for George Khalil. Big curveball. That one catches the inside edge for a called strike 3. And George Khalil will be guilty of the strikeout. He's frustrated on his way back to the plate, back to the dugout. It's the 4th strikeout of the evening for Sosa, the 2nd such. That is a strikeout looking.
The catcher, number 5, Justin Felix.
Justin Felix, the Otters catcher, now makes his way to the plate. He struck out swinging his first time up. One of the 3 Otters with a strikeout thus far. First pitch to Felix. Is a called strike on the inside edge. A good framing job there by the catcher Martinelli to bring that one a little closer. The 0-1 to Felix. Hefty swinging strike too, but he was a bit out in front of it. Don't forget that the Otters and Boulders play 2 more, both at 6:35 on the next 2 nights. Senior Connection Wednesday tomorrow, a Thirsty Thursday on Thursday. If you can't join us in person, join us here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. I'll give you every single pitch once again. The 0-2 to Felix. He gets too far underneath this one and just fouls it back.
I'm here to tell you that over at the top
seating area here at Bossy Field.
Choose the best. Never regret it.
We're enjoying a Taco Tuesday this evening here at Bossy Field. Our friends from Astound and Community One will be here tomorrow night to celebrate a Senior Connection Wednesday before Edward Jones and Working Distributors bring you Thirsty Thursday on Thursday night. The 0-2 is zoomed out towards left field. Chasing that way is Vinsky towards the wall, and it bounces into the wall. There goes Felix towards second, and he's in with a double. It is his 4th extra base hit in his last 5 games. Man, he hit that ball hard. And a 2-out Deerhead double-decker double has given the Otters a base runner here in the 5th inning. And it sets up a unique opportunity for the new man, Tyler Dones. Obviously, with contact, Felix would be going, so Dones gets a hold of something and puts it into the outfield. He could have himself his first base hit and his first RBI all in one. The first pitch to Tyler Dones is a called strike. Dones' first time up, he hit a ball really hard, but it was right at the second baseman who bobbled it for a second, was able to regroup and throw the runner out. Dones freshly signed today onto this Otters squad. He's out of Indiana University after playing a couple of years at West Virginia. The 0-1 works way outside. The count evens up at 1-1 for Dones. Dones hails from College Park, Georgia originally. Dones just needs to lay something in the outfield and it could score Felix from second. The 1-1 on the way. That's low and inside, and Dones finds himself ahead in the count, 2-1. If Dones finds himself on, Miles Gordon stands on deck and is ready for the next opportunity. Long wait for July Sosa up there on the bump. Finally nods home at his battery mate Martinelli, and he's ready to go on the 2-1. Ball falls low and away on Dones, and he's caught chasing for strike 2. Felix had himself a good hit to get himself on base with the 2 outs, and now Tyler Dones trying to make sure that does not go unnoticed and bring a runner home. Two-two count with 2 outs and 1 runner on. And stepping off is July Sosa. Defense spread out around the infield. As the 2-2 comes home, it's pushed to the right side, through for a base hit. There goes Felix around third. The throw home is not going to be in time. And the first professional base hit for Tyler Dones is an RBI single. And the entire Otters dugout will ask for the ball to be thrown in. Attaboy, Jones, way to get your first professional hit. Way to get your first professional RBI altogether. And that's one he won't forget. What really could end up being a major point of this game is it seems both starters have been effective. We head back to the top of the order where Miles Gordon steps in. 0 for 2 thus far. A tough ground out his last time up. Couple of throw-overs to check on Jones. Before the first pitch to Miles Gordon. Jones has himself a good lead over there at first. Sosa ready to go on the first pitch home to Miles Gordon. It's lightly grounded to the left side. Hernandez will have to chase in. The throw to first is just in time for out number 3, but not before the new man. Tyler Jones gets his first professional base hit, an RBI single that has given the Otters a lead here in the 5th inning. We've played through 5. It's Otters 1, Boulders 0.
Right fielder, number 5.
Want to remind you that Otters Baseball on the Otters Central Network and Flow Sports is presented by Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. Max Smith, Jake McKenzie, and David Vinsky due up in the half inning for New York, who now find themselves down by a run. First pitch home is outside for ball 1 on Max Smith. A 1-0 is zoomed towards right field. McNamee chasing back towards the warning track, and it's just foul. Maybe 7-8 feet to the right side of the warning track, not by much. That had home run distance. But Max Smith will have to make his way back towards home plate. Smith ready now on a 1-1 with nobody out and nobody on. It's a swinging strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes to Max Smith. Swinging strike 3. And Ryan O'Reilly gets himself a German American Bank strikeout. His 5th of the game.
Back to the top of the order, center fielder, 34, Jake McKenzie.
That'll bring up the center fielder, Jake McKenzie, 0 for 2 in the game with a foul out and a ground out. Ball is chopped in the infield dirt area, but they say that it was foul. So everyone will take a second to get back to their respective areas. O'Reilly returns to the mound. Felix returns behind the plate. Jake McKenzie now ready at the plate. The 0-1 on its way towards him. Hit sharply towards Khalil at short on 2 hops. The throw to first will beat him by quite a bit for out number 2. Second time McKenzie's grounded out to the shortstop Khalil this evening.
Left fielder.
That'll bring up the left fielder David Vinsky,
Vinsky,
who for a while had the only base hit in this game. In fact, into the 4th inning, he was the only one with a base hit on either side before the Otters were able to grab a couple of base hits, and then his teammate Austin Dennis grabbed one. First pitch home is sent towards the right side. McNamee chasing after it towards the right field line. In the bullpen, did he make the catch? Waiting for a call. Yes, he did. What a play by McNamee. Running, diving, sliding into the dugout and brings it in for out number 3. We've played through 5.5, and we are still sitting at a 1-0 advantage in favor of the Otters.
Davis.
And we head to the bottom half of the 6th. Otters holding on to a 1-0 advantage after in the last half inning, Tyler Dones was able to grab an RBI single. His first base hit of his career was his first RBI hit of the year. In fact, it was the first base hit of his professional career. First pitch to J.R. Davis is a called strike on the outside edge. He was showing bunt the whole way, pulled away at the last second, though. We have a final from Ottawa as the Washington Wild Things have won 4-2. That's a big win for Washington to keep what has been a really solid Canadian road trip alive for them. The 0-1 to Davis. Sent high and foul behind home. And he's quickly down 0-2 in the count.
Choose the best. Never regret.
The top of the 7th, the Windy City Thunderbolts leading at Trois-Rivières 8-4. And also in the top of the seventh, the Lake Erie Crushers have taken a 4-1 lead at Quebec. Big game for the Crushers right now. The 0-2 to J.R. Davis. That one stays just a hair high for ball one. In the bottom half of the fifth inning, the New Jersey Jackals and Schaumburg Boomers are tied at 2 runs apiece there in Schaumburg. And in the top of the fifth, Tri-City saw Joliet come storming back. The Slammers down just 5-4 now in that fifth inning. Final game of the day, of course, taking place over there at Gateway, where the Sussex County Miners have a 3-0 lead at the Grizzlies. The 1-2, Davis sends it sharply to the left side, but it's right at the shortstop, Dennis, for a line out to start off the sixth. So that will bring up the DH, Steven Sinsley.
Designated hitter, 21, Steven Sinsley.
Who ended the no-hit bid for Giovanni Sosa in the fourth with a bunt single to the left side. And once again, they've left an enormous amount of room on that left side of the infield. We might see him try it again. The third baseman, Hernandez, is playing dead center between second and third. First pitch to Sinsley. In running comes the third baseman to take away the bunt option for Sinsley as he takes ball one inside. But it sets up now for Sinsley to potentially just bloop a hit over the third baseman's head now. The 1-0 on the way. Sinsley zooms it out towards center field. McKenzie will step back a few steps towards the warning track and brings it in as he touches the warning track dirt for out number 2.
Left fielder.
So quickly, 2 up, 2 down for the Otters here in the sixth inning. Jeffrey Baez now on his way up. Baez 1 for 2 in the game. He followed Sinsley's infield's single last inning with a single of his own. Sharply hit to the right side. July Sosa ready on the bump. The first pitch coming home to Baez. Ooh, big curveball. Fell in for a called strike on the high inside corner. Defense set up straight up all the way around for Jeffrey Baez. 2 outs, nobody on. The 0-1 is sent back into the netting. And Baez is quickly down 0-2 in the count. Wind continues to blow in from center field. As it does look like all the 9 p.m. rain chances have dissipated. The 0-2 to Baez. This one's skied high to the right side, but it's foul enough that it'll end up out of play on top of the roof.
And a red foul ball brought to you by X Construction. Choose the best.
In fact, it's looking like now most of the rain's going to hold off till after the midnight hours, but it'll be here from 1 to 3 o'clock or so. So the Otters will hope that the field is still playable tomorrow, depending on how much rain comes down. As long as the rain's done by 2 or 3 p.m., this field able to get the water off pretty quick. 0-2 to Baez. Swinging strike 3 on a pitch that broke away from him. It's a 1-2-3 inning for July Sosa. We've played 6 full. Otters holding on to a 1-0 lead here from historic Bosse Field. Into the back third of this game we go. Otters with the only run of the game coming in the bottom of the 5th inning. Other than that, it has been all elementary in this one. Gabriel Garcia, Giovanni Garbella, and Chris Whitser due up in the half inning for New York. First pitch home to Garcia. There's a called strike on the low outside corner, one of the most generous strike calls we've seen all evening. Not that it's not a strike, just that the outside edge has been pretty much off limits for these pitchers so far. The 0-1 to Garcia bounces in, and the count's evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. O'Reilly taking his time up on the bump, ready on the 1-1 to Gabriel Garcia to kick off the 7th inning. Hit sharply towards Khalil at short. He plays it into the chest. The throw over to first beats the man by 15 or 20 feet for out number 1. O'Reilly's done a great job of keeping the pitch count low.
Designated hitter.
Still sub 70.
Giovanni Garbella.
Giovanni Garbella now makes his way to the plate. 0-1 with a fly out in the 1st inning and a walk in the 4th. His walk in the 4th left him stranded at first. One opportunity later as it came with 2 outs. Defense set up straight up for Giovanni Garbella all the way around. As the 0-1 comes home, and it's sharply hit towards left field, right at Baez. It actually curves towards Baez, and because of it, Baez is able to pull it in for out number 2. Off the bat, it looked like for sure that was going to be a base hit, but the more it curved its way towards Baez, the less he had to do to bring it in for out number 2.
9, Chris Whitser.
First baseman Chris Whitser is now making his way to the plate. 2 outs, nobody on. O'Reilly's ready for his first pitch, and it stays low for ball 1. One ball, no strikes for Chris Whitser. O'Reilly fires home, and it's sent really hard foul right into the dugout of New York. Looks like everyone's all good, but that ball was sent sharply and friendly fire into the dugout. It looks like someone did get hit by the ball down in there. This Mandy Flagg, the Otters trainer, goes running over to make sure everything's all right. But a swinging strike 2 for Whitser has him back in the count now, 1-2. One and two, the count as Ryan O'Reilly fires home. Sent sharply to the right side, just over the jumping Tyler Jones, and into right field for a 2-out base hit. The glove was just a half-inch too short.
Shortstop number 7, Austin Dennis.
So I did see Mandy Flagg come back over to the Otters bullpen, so everything seems to be good with whoever got hit by that foul ball in the Boulders dugout. So we're good to go with 2 outs, runner on first, and now Austin Dennis making his way to the plate. Dennis played for AA Northwest Arkansas in the Royals affiliation last year. Now here he is playing in the Frontier League with the New York Boulders. He took a ball 1 high and outside to start off his count. The 1-0 comes home, and it's sent sharply out towards right field. McNamee with a long run. It falls in front of him for a base hit. It's off the wall. Rounding third is going to be the man Whitser. The throw to third's in time, and they tag the man out. Is it before the play at the plate? It is not before, so the run will score, the game will tie, and then the man is tagged out. O'Reilly gives up a game-tying run. The Otters defense helps him out, and we head to the bottom half of the seventh. Game tied at 1. To the bottom of the seventh we go. The game now tied at 1 run apiece on an RBI double from Austin Dennis. That was followed up by Dennis trying to advance himself towards third. He was tagged out, but the run scored beforehand. And because the run did score beforehand, it tied the game up. Zach Bierman, Elijah McNamee, and George Khalil due up in the half inning for the Otters. First pitch home to Bierman. Zoomed out towards right field. Smith is going to watch it fly. It's the first home run in 2 weeks for the Otters, and it's for the big man, Zach Bierman, who grabs his 15th home run of the year. That puts him up to 7th in the Frontier League. That man was due. The Otters say anything you can do, we can do better, and they grab the lead right back. Zach Bierman crushes a ball to right field to give the Otters their lead right back. That'll bring up Elijah McNamee. First pitch he sees is out towards center. McKenzie chasing back towards the warning track. He lost it, and it bounces into the wall. McNamee's got himself a double. And on back-to-back plays, the Otters are striking for extra bases. Getting hot right when they need to.
The shortstop, number 28, George Khalil.
By the way, Zach Bierman had an estimated distance of 391 feet on his home run. Came off the bat at 106 mile an hour. It's going to spark a meeting at the mound for New York. As you can see on your screen there, the man warming up for New York is Zach Schneider, the righty out of Boca Raton, Florida. So a quick meeting trying to calm down July Sosa's. Things have gotten out of hand quickly for him. A first pitch home run for Zach Bierman. was followed up by Elijah McNamee hitting a ball solid out to center that was just lost by Jake McKenzie. He had a good play on it at first, and then he lost it. It fell in front of him and went off the wall for a double. And line drive home run, if you've ever seen one, only came off the bat at a 30-degree launch angle, but it came off at 106 mile an hour, which was plenty enough for a home run for Bierman. Brings up George Khalil, who shows bunt. It's a perfect one right back up the middle. The throw to first is in time, but it advances the runner to third. Great selfless play there by George Khalil. And it made the pitcher come off of his bump and make a play.
The catcher, number 5, Justin Felix.
Advances McNamee to third, and Justin Felix now makes his way to the plate. And it looks like the starting pitcher, July Sosa, is coming up a bit rough after that last play, as the first baseman, Whitser, basically hand walked him back up to the mound. And quickly running out was the athletic trainer, Lori Rahim, for New York, come to check on him. But something happened there that immediately the first baseman knew something was up. The Otters have Justin Felix and Tyler Dones due up next, right after retaking their lead on a moonshot home run from Zach Bierman that he just lasered over the fence. The estimated distance was 391, but that thing was moving. Looks like that is going to end the day for July Sosa, as he thanks his infielders and makes his way back towards the dugout with the trainer. So a pitching change needed. With it, we'll take a break and we'll let you know who the new man is for New York right after this. Otters have retaken the lead on a Zach Bierman solo home run and now have a man on third with just 1 out. And out comes Zach Schneider in relief for July Sosa. Schneider stands at 6 foot out of Boca Raton, Florida, and is looking to keep Elijah McNamee from scoring as he stands on third with just 1 out. It's the 21st appearance on the season for Schneider. He's got an official record of 0-4, though right now if the score were to hold, even if Schneider gives up the run, right now at least, the record would not fall upon him. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Schneider on the bump, Martinelli behind the plate. The pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Zach Bierman sent you. Zach Bierman finally grabs himself a home run. This one gives the Otters the lead yet again. It's the first home run for the Otters 2 weeks to the day. The last one was Stephen Sensley 2 weeks ago in Schaumburg on that Tuesday night. Recently, the Otters have just struggled to get the ball over the fence. Schneider still tossing his warm-up throws. It looks like this could be the last one here. Elijah McNamee stands on third with just one out. Justin Felix is going to have the chance to bring the man in. On the season, Justin Felix has himself 5 RBIs with runners on third and less than 2 outs. In total, Justin Felix has 24 RBIs to his name. Going to reach a quarter century with one right here. Just about anything gets it done. Something through the infield, something out into the outfield. Doesn't matter how you do it, just bring the runner home and give the team some insurance. The first pitch to Justin Felix. Swinging strike one. He was way ahead of the changeup there. No balls, 1 strike for Justin Felix. Defense is all playing in, trying to keep the run from scoring. The 0-1. Felix check swings as it bounces in on the outside edge. Count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. So everyone will return back to their original spots as we wait for a second. One ball, 1 strike for Justin Felix with 1 out and a runner on third. Way out in front of another pitch, and he's down 1-2 in the count. Felix has got to find a way to bring the man home. Now he's going to have to do it with 2 strikes. Otters lead 2-1 after a Zach Bierman home run on the first pitch of this half inning. The 1-2 on the way home for Justin Felix. Outside yet again, he's able to lay this one off, and the count evens up at 2-2. There is a man warming up for the Boulders out in the left field bullpen. Let's see if we can figure out who that is shortly. Two balls, 2 strikes for Justin Felix. 1 out and a runner on third, a huge chance for him. 2-2 is sent awkwardly towards the shortstop, Dennis, and he pulls it out of the air for out number 2 on the line. So now Tyler Dones, who earned himself his first professional hit and first professional RBI,
Second baseman,
back with his opportunity in the 5th, is going to have to do some more 2-out magic this time. Boy, would it feel good to, in your very first professional game, get a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs, everything with 2 outs too. Shows the type of player you can be. Tyler Dones ready for his first pitch in this opportunity. Bounces in, it's back towards the netting, and McNamee will come home to score on the pass ball. And the Otters add a run of insurance. So that takes a lot of pressure off of the man Tyler Dones. Augie Gallardo is starting to warm up for the Otters now in right field. Tyler Doan's now ready to go on the 1-0. It's a called strike right down the middle. Maybe stayed just a hair low. If Doans can find his way on, Miles Gordon would be due up next. The 1-1 for Tyler Doans. Called strike on the outside edge. Another time or probably just the third time all night, Beaver has called a strike on the outside edge. He's been very stingy with those pitches out there. One ball, two strikes for Doans, just trying to help extend the inning. Ball works high and inside, and he's able to just foul it for a second. Counts at 1-2 now for Tyler Doans. Bases are empty with 2 outs as McNamee came home to score on the pass ball. It's actually ruled as a wild pitch. Regardless, it takes the stress off of Doans to bring him in. Doans ready at the plate. It's on the 1-2. Stays outside. He just barely lays it off, and his count evens up at 2-2. Gallardo has slowed down his warm-ups out there in right field now. He didn't hop up until the McNamee run had scored. The 2-2 stays low, and Doans has himself a full count. I really hope we're still going to see Ryan O'Reilly in the top half of the 8th inning. I've been very pleased with what we've seen from him so far this evening, and his pitch count is low too. He's throwing strikes. The 3-2 payoff pitch to Tyler Doans. Push to the right side, foul, and he'll live to see another pitch. So a little bit of a wait now as Doans makes his way towards the plate yet again. 3-2 payoff pitch with 2 outs and nobody on. Doans just looking to extend this bottom half of the 7th inning. The 3-2. Push to the right side, right at Garcia. He'll play it off the ground. The throw to first is just in time to get Doans, who thought he had beat it out. We've played through 7, and the Otters retake the lead on a Zach Bierman zooming home run to right field. It's now 3-1 Otters on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports.
Third baseman, number 40, Ray Hernandez.
Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. This Bud's for you. We head to the top of the 8th inning, and Ryan O'Reilly returns to the mound for the Otters as they lead 3-1 after grabbing a couple of runs of, well, a go-ahead run and then an insurance run there in the 7th. First pitch is home for a ball one low. Augie Gallardo continues to throw for the Otters out in the right field pen. It's now ball 2 to Ray Hernandez. Their pitch low. If O'Reilly can find his way through this 8th inning, it would negate the need to even bring Gallardo into the game. They could go straight to Logan Sawyer in the 9th. I'm sure that's what Andy McCauley and his staff would prefer. A 3-0 to Hernandez. This one's a called strike. And it takes the count to 3-1. A 3-1. Stays in the exact same place. A called strike right at the elbows again. And Hernandez is looking at a full count now. Base is empty, no outs here to lead off the 8th inning. Hernandez looking at a payoff pitch. And it's low for ball 4. So Hernandez will make the trot down to first with a inning beginning walk. His first time on base this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. We have a bench hitter, one Francisco Del Valle.
So we've got a pinch hitter opportunity now as Francisco Del Valle will make his way to the plate. Batting in the 8th hole for John Martinelli. Del Valle ready for the first pitch, and it's a called strike to kick it off. Del Valle enters the game with a 307 batting average, but he's usually an outfielder, so an interesting swap here to come in for the catcher. Ball outside, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. I wonder if then we'd maybe see the implementation of Alfonso Rita come into this game. He's the other catcher listed for New York. Maybe see him come in for just the 8th inning. The 1-1 for Francisco Del Valle. And that one is just fouled through. It's 1-2. Del Valle is ready at the plate for the 1-2 with no outs and a runner on first. The 1-2. Swinging strike 3, and Del Valle is guilty of the German-American Bank strikeout, the 6th of the game for Ryan O'Reilly.
Right fielder 5, Max Smith.
That'll bring up Max Smith, who just about hit a home run a couple innings ago. But after it was called back because of being foul, he struck out a couple of pitches later. They go over to check on the runner, Ray Hernandez, who is back in time. The first pitch to Max Smith is a called strike on the outside edge, which sends Riley up to a 0-1 lead. 1 out to 1 on, and the 0-1 to Max Smith. Headed home from O'Reilly. Way high and outside, and the count evens up at 1-1. Otters and Boulders will go at it again once again tomorrow night, 6:35 first pitch. Andy Hammond on the mound for New York, and the local kid, Bryce Studeville, on the mound for the Otters. He's looking for the first win in his professional career. They'll try to do it tomorrow night against these Boulders. A 1-1 to Smith. Oh my goodness, press the pause button on that pitch on the way home. It clocks in at 81, but it looked like it came home at like 60 or 65. It really slowed down, and he caught Smith looking. 1-2 the count to the 9-hole hitter, Max Smith. Runner on first and 1 out. Pitch coming home from Ryan O'Reilly. Zoomed into center field, down for a base hit. Charging in is Gordon, and he will keep the runners at first and second with just 1 out. Ball was hit very hard, but it just died on its way out towards center. There's runners now at first and second with just 1 out, and out comes Max Peterson. Wonder if that might be the end of Ryan O'Reilly's day. Indeed it is. We see the mention down to the bullpen. We'll let you know who's coming into this one right after this. Otters currently lead 3-1, but the Boulders are trying to get some work done here in the 8th. Ryan O'Reilly's day has come to an end, and Augie Gallardo is called upon out of the bullpen for the Otters. The task is just to get 2 outs with runners at first and second. 1 out already in the book. Gallardo making his 16th appearance for the Otters this season. And it comes in a big situation for the Otters. Got to hold on to this one. You've got to lead. You've got to run of insurance. See what you can do to hold on to it. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Gallardo on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Zane Clodfelter sent them your way. Gallardo has concluded his warm-up period. He will try to finish this one out, or at least this inning out. 1 out, first and second runners on for the Boulders, and they're back to the top of their order where Jake McKenzie is on his way to the plate. Best case scenario for the Otters is a double play. You do not want to give David Vinsky an opportunity to come to the plate with the bases loaded with 1 out, or with a couple runners on and 2 outs. You've got to find a way to get both outs here, ideally. McKenzie ready at the plate. The first pitch to him. Zoomed foul down the left field line. It stays foul, and it's strike 1. The runner at first is Max Smith. At second, Ray Hernandez. Jake McKenzie, who's 0 for 3 on the day, at the plate now. His last 2 outs have both been ground outs to the shortstop, George Khalil. Otters would love another one here. An 0-1 just stays a hair inside for ball 1. Count evens up at 1-1 for Jake McKenzie. There's runners at first and second with just one out. Gallardo looking for a couple outs. Curveball falls in for a called strike two. Nice pitch there. It had the movement of the curveball, but it came across at 86 mile an hour. Almost looked like the slider, but usually a slider doesn't have that much drop to it. Big pitch here. 1-2 pitch to Jake McKenzie with one out and two on, and McKenzie's going to call time. Gallardo nods home, glances out to second. Here comes the 1-2. Ooh, just fouled back into the netting as McKenzie just barely got a piece of that. Both runners got good jumps as the ball was made contact with. We'll try again on the 1-2 count to Jake McKenzie. That one looked like it slipped out of the hand of Gallardo and evens the count up at 2-2. He looked dissatisfied with that pitch the second it came out of his hand. Two on, one out to the top of the eighth inning. Otters trying to hold on to a 3-1 lead. The 2-2 to Jake McKenzie. Pushed foul to the right side. It's going to get out of play, and we will have to do it all again.
By Heads Construction, Angela. Choose the best. Never regret it.
Hernandez at second, Smith at first, Jake McKenzie at the plate. Looking at a 2-2 count with one out. The 2-2. Zoomed out towards left. Chasing after it is Baez towards the warning track. Makes a catch as he runs into the wall. My goodness, what a catch. That one certainly saved a run. And immediately Baez came up just a little bit tough after that one. He gives a thumbs up back into the infield. He ran into that wall hard. He had a good run towards it, and it's another good play by an outfielder tonight. And here it is. The biggest at-bat of this game. One of the best RBI men in the entire league with a huge opportunity. 2 on, 2 out, and David Vinsky headed to the plate. Vinsky's 1 for 3 on the day thus far. Carries in a top 10 league-wide batting average and a top 5 RBI number league-wide. First pitch home is a called strike to Vinsky. Good way to start for Gallardo. As long as Gallardo can get through the one out, he won't need to come back into this game, as Logan Sawyer would likely be the man in the ninth unless the Otters scored 3 or 4 in this bottom half of the eighth. The 0-1 to Vinsky. Launched out towards center. Chasing in is Gordon, but it's actually the shortstop Khalil who will bring it in for out number 3. And the 2 on, 1 out opportunity for the Boulders will not come back to haunt the Otters. We head to the bottom half of the eighth. Evansville still leads 3-1. New pitcher for the New York Boulders, Ryan Munoz, as the 6'1", 215-pound lefty out of Puerto Rico will look to help keep this game right where it's at. He's got a new battery mate as well, as checking in to catch is Alfonso Rita. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. And don't forget that call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. The Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, ready now. First pitch, he shows that he was going to lay a bunt down, but he pulls away, and it's a called strike anyway. Count goes to 0-1 now for Miles Gordon. He takes a pitch inside. The count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike. Logan Sires starting to warm up for the Otters out there in the right field bullpen. If he came into the game in a save situation, he'd be going for his league-leading 15th save of the year. A 1-1 is zoomed to the right side, through for a base hit for Gordon to kick off this 8th inning. So now J.R. Davis will make his way to the plate. No outs and a runner on.
Baseman number 2, J.R. Davis.
Davis in the game is 0 for 3 thus far. Fly outs, ground out, and line out. His line outs came starting off that 6th inning, just didn't have enough carry to it. First pitch is sent back into the netting. And he falls back in the count 0-1. A little bit of a wait here for Davis to step back in. Now it looks as if he's ready to go. First pitch to J.R. Davis. On the way, and it's put out towards center field. Chasing back is McKenzie, and he's able to bring this one in for out number 1. So we saw McKenzie out there in center field misplay a ball in the last half inning, but helped give up Elijah McNamee's multi-base hit. Steven Sinsley now makes his way to the plate, 1 on, 1 out. So far in the game, Sinsley with a 1 for 3 line, a base hit back in the 4th with a bunt for infield single on one that Sinsley just saw the third baseman playing the shift a bit too aggressively, and he laid it down the third base line beautifully. Ball sent sharply to the right side. Garcia will play to Dennis for 1 at second. Over to first in time for the double play. We head to the 9th inning, and the Frontier League's best closer comes into the game trying to give the Otters a series opening win. The finale's coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. As we go to the top of the ninth inning, the Frontier League's top closer enters the game. Logan Sawyer looking for his league-leading 15th save of the season. He's 14 of 14 in save opportunities this year. Now look to keep that perfect record alive, still holding an ERA of 0 in his 19 appearances thus far. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Sawyer on the mound and Felix behind the plate. The pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Don't forget that the Otters and Boulders play again tomorrow in a 6:35 first pitch as the two sides continue on their seasons. Otters host New York and then Tri-City to conclude their pre-All-Star break schedule. As for New York, they're going to finish their 3-game set here, of course, before heading on the road to conclude things up here in Chicago. Gabriel Garcia ready to kick off this ninth inning for the Boulders against Logan Sawyer, who appeared in Sunday's game for the Otters there at Sussex County, despite it not being a save opportunity, just merely a game to get him some experience. He gave up no runs, no hits in that one inning of work. First pitch home, stays high for ball 1 to kick off the half inning. Bases are empty as Garcia is kicking off this ninth inning for New York. The 1-0 is zoomed down the right field line. It's going to work itself foul, and it's going to be strike 1.
Brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
Defense is set up straight up all the way around for Gabriel Garcia, who on the day is 0 for 3, a flyout, a strikeout, and a groundout. The 1-1, and showing bunts was Garcia. Got way too much air under it, but it didn't matter. It was fouled off to the left side anyway. That drops Garcia to 1-2 now in the count. Garcia, big guy there at the plate. Stands 6'3", but he looks 6'5" or 6'6" there. The way he towers over both Felix and home plate umpire Matt Bieber. Sawyer looking to kick off the half inning with a strikeout on the 1-2. But it's pushed to the right side past the diving Zach Bierman for a leadoff base hit. That one a hard hit to the right side. And Garcia is going to grab a base hit to start off this ninth inning. Giovanni Garbella now makes his way to the plate.
Giovanni Garbella.
Garbella's 0 for 2. A couple of flyouts and a walk so far to his day. Choking up on the bat a little bit, trying to get the thing around a little quicker. First pitch to Garbella, swinging strike 1, as he was a bit ahead of that one. Defense set up straight up all the way around again in double play positioning now. The 0-1 to Giovanni Garbella. Swinging strike 2. Sawyer just challenges him high and inside. Boy, would it feel good for Sawyer to back up a leadoff base hit with a strikeout and 3 pitches right afterwards. The 0-2, high and inside for ball 1. Sawyer glances over towards first, and he's ready on the 1-2. Pitch coming home. And it's skied out for foul ball to the right
A
side.
red foul ball brought to you by Heads Construction. Choose the best. Never regret it.
So we'll try again on the 1-2. Good work from Garbella to keep himself alive in the count and fight at the plate. There's no outs and a runner on first here in the top of the ninth inning for the Boulders. The 1-2. Oh, and I looked like it was going to be a called strike. The whole Otters dugout thought it was going to be a called strike. Instead, it's ball 2, which evens the count up. Good lead over there for Garcia. The 2-2 is swung on and missed up high for a German-American bank strikeout. First one of the day.
First baseman, number
for Logan
9,
Sawyer.
Chris Whitser.
And it's the 7th of the day combined for the Otters. That'll bring up the first baseman, Chris Whitser, who on the day thus far is 1 for 3. A single in the 7th. He came around to score on Dennis's double. Starts off with a called strike on the outside edge. Gabriel Garcia will get a little bit of a lead over there at first with 1 out. And an 0-1 to Chris Whitser. Swinging strike 2 on a pitch that just broke away from him. And that'll set up Logan Sawyer to grab himself another strikeout if he can get a man to chase here. The 0-2 to Whitser. Swinging strike 3 on a high and away pitch.
German-American bank strikeout.
That's a back-to-back German-American bank strikeouts. The Boulders are down to the last outs. So it'll bring up Austin Dennis with 1 on and 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. The last chance of the Boulders. Sawyer quickly ready up on the bump. And here comes the first pitch home. Called strike 1. Now, of course, Logan Sawyer throws hard and throws fast, but don't trust the number on your screen. It wasn't 105 mile an hour. It was 96, though. Ball sent sharply foul to the right side. Bierman's trying to chase it down in foul positioning, and he's able to slow himself down before he runs into the fence. Pitch came home at 96 mile an hour.
Heads Construction, choose the best.
You've seen a couple of numbers hop up that have been 104, 105. Fortunately, it's not that fast, but Whitser's still throwing heat this evening. So down to their last strike now are the Boulders, as Evansville will look to grab themselves a second consecutive win. The 0-2, high and inside. Dennis is able to get out of the way. Came in at 97. Light breeze still coming in from center field, as Logan Sawyer's trying to close out this game. The 1-2, push to the right side, right into the glove of Bierman. He'll step on first, and the Ots win 3-1, courtesy of a Zach Bierman home run that helped give the Otters the lead. An exciting one here. We'll keep it right here for postgame, as Ryan O'Reilly has earned his 5th win of the season, and in typical Ryan O'Reilly fashion, has backed up a tough couple of outings with a really good one in this game. Tell you what, it was fun to watch Ryan O'Reilly all night long. He started out giving up the base hit in the first inning, but in those next 3 or 4 innings, he settled in very nicely, hit a lot of strike zones, relied on his defense to help him out, and in the end of things, he ended up giving up just 1 run on 5 hits in 7 1/3 innings of work. He walked 2, struck out 6. And of his 90 total pitches, 62 of them were strikes. He had a game ERA of 1.23. Augie Gallardo came in and helped him out with 2 innings as well. Gave up no runs on no hits in those 2 outs. Logan Sawyer came in, closed out the game, gave up a base hit to start things, but then to back-to-back German American Bank strikeouts before ending the game on a ground out. The loss goes to July Sosa in his debut start of the season for the New York Boulders. And Logan Sawyer, of course, like I mentioned, picks up the save, his 15th of the year. That leads the Frontier League. He continues to be the best when it comes to saves in this league. Time and time again, he is proving that. It is hard to get base hits, and it's even harder to score runs against Logan Sawyer. A couple of worthy candidates to take a look at in this game. Otters didn't have any multi-hit outings, but Gordon, Baez, Bierman, McNamee, Felix, and Dones all grab hits, but the 2 biggest ones was a Tyler Dones RBI single in the 5th that initially gave the Otters the lead. That was Dones' first professional hit, and on that hit, it was his first professional RBI as well. After New York tied it up, Zach Bierman had the biggest hit of the night, a solo home run, which ended a 2-week drought for the Otters in the home run category, and it gave the Otters the eventual lead they would need to win. They win this one 3-1, and also take the win in the hits category 7-6. Neither team commits an error. Washington did end up winning at Ottawa 4-2. Florence defeated Empire State 21-4 there in Northern Kentucky. Big game there for the Yalls. In the bottom of the 7th inning, the Trois-Rivières Eagles currently lead Windy City 13-12. Keep an eye out here. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Quebec is down to their last 2 outs, down 6-1 to the Lake Erie Crushers. Boy, would that be a big win for Lake Erie. In the bottom of the 6th, Schaumburg has jumped out to a 4-2 lead against New Jersey. Tri-City has retaken control of things at Joliet, up 8-4 now. And in the final game of the evening, Sussex County currently leads 11-0 at Gateway in the bottom of the 7th inning. New York and Evansville will face off 2 more times this week here at historic Bosse Field. The next one coming tomorrow evening with a 6:35 first pitch. Andy Hammond will take the mound for the New York Boulders. Bryce Studeville on the bump for the Otters. And we'll have first pitch for you right here with pregame starting at 6:20 on both the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I've been Matthew Wills saying so long from Evansville.